Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate in Final Fantasy Podcast. I am Joe.
I am Caleb.
And today we are going to be reviewing Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, The Echoes of Time. Yeah, we beat another one twice.
I know. This would be more impressive if we weren't recording on a Tuesday.
Yeah, well, it's not about the impressiveness of the recording.
Yeah, it's about the impressiveness of our diligence to catch up on our podcast.
That's right, and it'll look so nice when you look through the podcast feed a few months from now. It'll be like, bam, one review, bam, another review. That'll be sweet.
It will. How many more weeks do you think we can keep this up?
I think I can beat My Life as a Dark Lord in a week and a half.
So we're going to have to do another episode next time? I
think so, but in case not, you know where to ask your questions and you know where to put your reviews on the forums, guys.
Yeah. Give those up, because it might happen.
It might. I mean, I'm more than halfway through it, but it is not like these other games. It's not. It threw me for it threw a curveball, and you got to figure out how to kind of deal with it right now. But we're not here to talk about My Life as a Dark Lord. No,
not yet.
We are here to talk about The Echoes of Time. You want to get into development?
Yeah, let's see what you got.
All right, so this game was released in Japan on January 29th, 2009. Don't remember this game coming out, do you?
No.
Okay.
Definitely not.
Any of these Crystal Chronicle games?
Nope.
Okay.
I don't remember them releasing. I remember seeing them later, or at least the first one, but I never heard about them on release.
Right.
Not a good sign.
Well, the North American version was released on March 24th, 2009, and the European version was released on March 27th, 2009, and the Australian version, they didn't get it till April 2nd, 2009, so those poor Australians, they missed out on this game. It was originally a DS game. They said on the Wikipedia page, this is what it said. I'm not sure if I believe it. It said it was made on a new engine, like a new game engine. But I believe they probably, whatever they used for Ring of Fates, they probably used on this game because it played exactly the same.
Yeah. For the most part, yeah.
For the most part, and we'll get into that, I'm sure. The game was revealed to the public at the 2008 Tokyo Game Show, to great acclaim that obviously didn't make its way to us. I was already a Final Fantasy fan at the time, and I'd never heard about this game. This new engine was called the Pollux Engine, which allowed players to link up and adventure together in multiplayer mode regardless of which version of the game, Wii or Nintendo DS, that they were playing.
Oh, so whether it was the DS version or the DS, the laziest port.
The DS version or the DS version?
Yeah, or the DS Wii version, where they give you both screens for little to no apparent reason.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the first thing I noticed about this game, and I believe I texted you about, hey, you should put that game in. I'm going to tell you why. It's the laziest port of all time. The Wii version, though, apparently it did have something different about it. It contained a new trailer for Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles: The Crystal Bears.
Oh, thank God.
Somewhere in there. I never saw it in the menu or anything, but that's what it was. It was directed by Mitsuru Kamiyama, who worked on Crystal Chronicles and Ring of Fates. Produced by Kiyoko Maeda, designed by Hiroyuki Saegusa. The lead artist was Yasuhisa Izumisawa. Kill me. All these names, dude. The writers were Hiroyuki Saegusa and Miwa Shoda. And the music was composed by Kumi Tanioka, who did the music for the previous Crystal Chronicle games, and he or she, I'm not sure if that's a woman or a man's name. They did the music. They were one of the 3 composers for the original Crystal Chronicles, but they've been doing all the music since. So yeah, that's all I have on the development of the game. Not much there. But obviously, we can speculate about the development. The first freaking thing I noticed when I put in this game, and I pressed new game right after the end of the other game. I clicked new game, and then I saw that it had 2 screens. 2 screens on my television screen. And what I mean is, 2 windows. So there's, one window with the game in it, and another window with what would be the second screen on the DS. It had, the menu, basically. A really, really simple menu.
Yeah.
There were just, the magic switches, which magic you were using at the time and which character you were using at the time. And then if you pressed another button, it would go into an extra menu that had other options in it. But for those 2 things to be toggled on at all times, instead of them putting it on the HUD, somewhere on that big screen, a nice big screen, where you would play it on a television, apparently that was too much work to change it just a little bit for the Wii version. And they went ahead and just kept the second screen on there and said, fuck you. And then, made it so that you would have basically 1/3 the viewing experience of playing a regular game on the Wii. Laziest port of all time. Laziest fucking port of all
You can
time.
tell they didn't develop it for the Wii at all. They just slapped it on there a week before they fucking started printing copies. They're like, oh, you know what? We should make a Wii version. Slap. They just slap the code onto a disc and there it is. It's beautiful. Go. It's just
the game with a DS emulator that immediately starts. That's what I think it is. I don't even God, it was so lazy. And I remember texting you. I'm like, dude, you need to get the DS version of this game.
Yeah.
And you're like, why? Just basically keep going, why? Is it the controls? Are the controls bad? Do I need to be on the DS? That was your first assumption. And the controls for the Wii version are not great. They're not. I'm not sure if they're great for the DS either. But I said, nope, it's not the controls. It's not the controls. And then I just you got it out of me, and I eventually had to show you a screenshot of what this game looks like.
Yeah.
On the Wii.
And I immediately went and bought a DS copy. I was like, that was upsetting to see that image, to see what it looked like. I was like, God, that is so lazy. And I was able to play it at work and stuff, so it was easier for me to get the game done on DS rather than the console. So
it was the laziest thing of the entire series so far. The laziest thing I have ever seen in my life. Just we don't. It's the same game. Just just put the second screen on the screen.
Yeah, fuck it. We just put it on there.
If I put it on, so the Wii exports in full screen still, I think. I guess I'm not entirely sure. But I have it set for full screen television. Mm-hmm. And so it was a screen within a screen within a screen for me. It's just this square box that's the regular 4:3 aspect ratio of the older TVs. And then within that, 2 DS screens.
Yeah.
And my television that I'm using to play these on in this this apartment filled with people is 19 inches. So it's like I might as well have been playing it on a DS, frankly.
Yeah, you really might
Only
as well
like
have.
I'm stuck in this chair. That's the difference. So it was really not a good. I blamed the development team for that fucking bullshit. Lazy. Oh my god, so lazy. All right. Okay. Do you know anything about the development, or can we move on to story?
Nope. I don't know jack shit. I just know that the port's super lazy, and the game seems pretty similar to Ring of Fates in a lot of ways. That's all I know.
Okay. Well, let's move on to story. All right, so this is what I got for story. You got a nameless protagonist this time. All the other protagonists had default names. This one does not. You can like do a name roulette thing when you're going in and you're starting the game, but no default protagonist. So when was the last time that happened? Was it FF1?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's most every time a default name. Like, or not, yeah. I think it's FF1. I think every single game since then that I can think of doesn't do this. It has like this is what it would be. Even if it's something as simple as My Life as a King, where it doesn't really matter what his name is, but it does give you a name from the beginning. But this one doesn't really. You can, like Joe said, you can have it generate a name, but there's no like canon name for this game. So it's already a weird ass game. Like immediately, there's no actual name, which makes sense because you get to choose what race your character is and what gender as well. So you got like 8 options to choose from in this game. So I guess it kind of makes sense. Not that any of those two things would necessarily disqualify them as a canon protagonist. So that's kind of stupid. But yeah, no default guy.
Yeah. So nameless protagonist. The game starts with a bad dream with a weird looking dude chasing after like a girl.
A little girl.
And it's really gross. Like, it feels like it's gross, but then he's, like, doing magic. It's like, oh, okay, so it's not a rape. Okay, all right, this is a different situation.
What size are you?
And then it's like, oh, did you have that bad dream again? And he's like, yes. And then the day moves on. No one gives a shit. Moves on to the hero's 16th birthday ritual, which requires him or her, mine was a guy, to kill some monsters. After which he's awarded a personal crystal from Charlotta. But then suddenly a village girl becomes sick with crystal sickness, and he must find a cure for the disease. And then you get to wander outside into the real world.
Yeah. Very pleased to see a world map in this game. Like, as I was leaving the town, I was like, man, I kind of wish these had a world map. And then, like, I come out and I'm like, oh my god, it's a world map.
Oh, we've seen world maps in this series quite a bit.
Yeah, I guess the first game. But, like, this.
I thought Ring of Fates had one.
I think it had, like, almost like a tactics kind of one. I don't know. I can't remember now.
Okay, all right. Honestly, I can't remember either. I'm not going to argue with you right now. Obviously, very memorable experience that Ring of Fates was.
Yeah, this whole series.
This leads him to the library where a dude who was definitely the dude in your dream named Lycurgus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean... So I have a theory about this game, about what it's really about. If this guy is Albert Einstein, so just keep that in mind. He's Albert Einstein. He's
also the dude that was definitely in your dream that you saw at the beginning of the game, and no one says anything. Like, the hero never has that guy looks like the guy in my... Like, exactly. Only he's wearing a hat.
Yeah, it's the
only difference between...
It's the Clark Kent glasses thing.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Your character is Lois Lane. That's the canon protagonist of this game is Lois Lane from the 70s movies.
Anyway, this definitely not evil guy named Larkiakis. I did not have my volume on, so I never heard them pronounce his name.
I think it's like Larketius.
Larketius?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I did have it on, but it wasn't like up. I don't know how to. So I didn't. Yeah, I never heard his name. How many times did they say his name?
It's not that many times. There aren't very many cutscenes in the game. It's mostly gameplay.
There's like 4 or 5 cutscenes with voice acting in it.
Yeah.
So Larketius, I'll go with that, agrees to find him a cure to cure the little girl if he activates some of the statues at the top of some mountains, because, can't do it himself. Which is, of course, this evil scheme by an evil man, which breaks the last remaining crystal, apparently, and makes the hero's village disappear, as far as you know. So now our hero finds out, the village that you come from, that you were raised in, that you did the 16th birthday ritual thing, and it just disappears. So through some stuff that I can't remember, our hero finds out through some big magic thing that the villagers are all raising the hero because they were made immortal when they touched the crystal core. Something like that. Anyway, the villagers are all immortal ghost crystal people that were raising the hero that they had saved in childhood. Your hero's a child, and they saved him. So he finds out, basically, that nothing around him was ever real, except for one other kid in the village. And so now he's got to pick up all the pieces to get the crystal back, so the village will return. And then he has to defeat the big bad guy, realizing that in order to truly defeat him, he's got to destroy the crystal, which will take the immortals with it, leaving only the memory of the immortal cat behind. So yeah, I honestly, when I played this game, I thought the twist with the village, being not real, was kind of cool. But the rest of it, the mechanics of the story, I gotta say, it turned my brain off. It was going into really basic, FF1 through 3 Final Fantasy story mode.
Yeah.
Where it was okay, bad guy wants to have all power, crystal breaks, hero get crystal together, sacrifice, the end.
Well, it was, so the bad guy, he basically captured the Charlotta chick and was using her to just create crystal after crystal after crystal. And I guess he didn't want the crystal core because when he found it, he thought it was useless, so he left it. And when the cataclysm, the crystal destruction thing happened, I guess the Charlotta chick, her consciousness went into the cat, which is weird. And her body basically just became a shell. And the main bad guy just thought he made her crazy. And his whole thing was he was trying to stop the destruction of all the crystals from happening. And he ended up being the reason why it happened at the end of the game. But really what the story is, and this is what I figured out real early on, is World War II, right? So we have the Japanese who are making this game. Okay. And then we have the main bad guy, a German science-y guy who's making a big weapon thing.
Oh, full accent too, by the way.
Yeah, full German accent. And he really... Yeah, and we got the village of the downtrodden people. It's really just about how the German guy who was supposed to be on their side wasn't on their side, made some huge cataclysmic event and destroyed a bunch of shit. And, i.e. the nuclear bomb, the atomic bomb from a German scientist.
Okay.
Yeah, that would have been a cooler story. If it would have been like some twist on that. But yeah, it's kind of a weird story, and you go into offline mode with your brain because it's kind of like very sparsely given to you throughout the game, and I don't know if the pacing for the story is very good in this thing because you don't really get enough to keep you interested in it. You're just kind of playing the game, and then here's a little bit more, here's a little bit more, and yeah, it was kind of, I guess the village twist was kind of cool, but I don't know. I don't know if I really care for the story. It wasn't really engaging to the point where I was paying a ton of attention to it. So
I have similar complaints with Ring of Fates. It just kind of rolled off. It was like they tried a little bit, but I don't know. Otherwise, I'm not too interested in the characters, or what's going on, or the setting very much.
Yeah.
And it's not. I would say the original Crystal Chronicles, I wouldn't call that a great story either, but it's more simply told.
Yeah. It knows what it is, kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's easier to grasp a little bit. Like, what the hell's going on? So, I don't know. I would, I don't think this story isn't doing it for me. I think Shinru, one of our big listeners, obviously, I've heard his name like 16 million times. I think he says this is the best one of the series. And I'd say I'd kind of tie the story up with Ring of Fates for talking story.
Yeah, I think this one's probably a little bit better than Ring of Fates story-wise, but
it's more complex, I think, than Ring of Fates. But, I mean, the dream thing with the guy is obviously the bad guy with the dream. It's like, okay, and I just kind of was like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, it was fine for what it is. And I hate having to review a game like that. It's like, it's a Crystal Chronicle game. It was fine for what it was.
Yeah.
It's not like it was super story heavy and you had to like slog through it. It's not like FF13's first half.
Yeah, that's true.
So it doesn't have that problem. But yeah, I thought it was fine. Meh.
Yeah. All right. Well, shit.
Okay. Let's move on to some gameplay. All right, Schweiss, how does this game play?
So, you take Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, Ring of Fates, you add what I think are way better dungeons with way cooler puzzles, much more interesting design, a lot of different things to do, and then you add the worst AI I've ever experienced in any fucking game that I've ever played to this point. Like, this game should be easily the best Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles game, but the fact that I have to spend 5-10 minutes each dungeon chucking my fucking teammates off of cliffs to get them out of my fucking way makes it infuriating. There's parts where you have to stand all 4 of your characters on a button to have that button weighed down to then like move you to the next area. And they won't stop fucking moving your teammates. Like they twitch and then they move off of the button, and like it's extremely frustrating with that. I mean, you have a lot of the stuff that Ring of Fates brought with the weapon customization. You can go buy, order weapons, find the schematics for them, and then like order them at the local shop. And it's cool because you can see your characters wearing the weapons like you could in that one, and that kind of stuff is really, really fun. We have a world map. We've got multiple dungeons, multiple versions of the dungeons. The boss mechanics are pretty similar to to Ring of Fates with the each boss has like a weakness, a weak spot, and you have to kind of figure out where that is, and then just start wailing on them. Yeah, it's kind of it's definitely more of a dungeon crawler in my mind than Ring of Fates was. And I kind of like the gameplay. For the most part, I like it more than Ring of Fates. I think the puzzles are more interesting in this thing. I like how they simplified the magic. You don't have to pick up, like, orbs of magic to use the magic. You just have to have MP. I enjoyed that. I thought some of the puzzle mechanics were pretty good, like with the books. There's parts where you have to, like, place books on pedestals and then use the spell they cast to, like, unlock different areas. And you can also do, like, massive damage to enemies with the spell that comes from the book as well. I enjoyed that. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a pretty fun game, mostly, but there are some parts that are extremely infuriating. Like, I had to look at a guide a few times because the game just wasn't functioning right. There's a part near the very end in the last dungeon where you have to, like, bring your whole team down into this little pit, and then they all have to be standing on this button that you can't see, and then that lowers you down to the next area. And I was like, this is fucking stupid, dude. Like, I can't actually see what the fuck is down in this hole because the camera's, like, 70 feet away from this area, and it's, like, it's completely concealed. So, like, I unlocked that area forever ago, and I'm just running around this final zone trying to figure out where the fuck I need to go. And then I'm like, fuck this, man. I'm looking it up because, like, I'm sick of playing this fucking game right now. Like, I'm so fucking tired of this motherfucker. Because the enemies respawn when you go into the new era, when you go back. So, like, you got to fight the same guys over and over again with, like, less and less MP as time goes on. So it gets harder and harder to keep yourself alive. And I look it up and it's like, oh yeah, there's a button down there. And, like, I spent like 10 seconds, like, bringing my team back to me, doing that spell that, like, pulls them all to you. And then finally everyone was standing on this fucking button that I couldn't see. And then we finally moved to the next area of the map. Like, it's fucking bullshit, dude. And, like, having to throw my teammates off of cliffs because they just won't get the fuck out of my way. Like, that's happened numerous times in this thing. Like, I had to pick them up and, like, just, like, fuck you. Just throw them in this lake. Like, get out of the way, man. I'm trying to do shit here. And, like, there's a lot of puzzles that require, like, one person to stand on a certain thing, and then, like, I try to stand off of it to go grab an item as it's flying by me, and then my fucking teammate stupidly, like, walks up behind me and stands on the thing again and fucks it all up. Like, God, it's made to be played with multiple people, but when you're playing with the AI, it's bad. It's fucking bad, dude. And it's everything about the gameplay should make it a better game than Ring of Fates, but the AI is just so stupid in this thing that I don't think I can say it plays better than that one because it doesn't play properly at all. Stacking's not even as fun.
You have some memory loss about Ring of Fates.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think the AI was just as bad, if not worse. And on top of that, Ring of Fates had the magic orb stacking.
Hey, that was beautiful.
And the item stacking thing, which is still a problem in this game, is not as bad of a problem because the AI occasionally realizes that something is floating above their head,
they'll chuck it
and chucks it for you, because they couldn't just fix the problem. They couldn't, like, really fix the problem. They didn't take all their coding from Ring of Fates and, like, well, let's find out why everything stacks like a motherfucker and you can't get to anything. You can't reach anything. You can't grab anything. And you need these fucking items all the time. So you're running around like a fucking idiot and it's underneath your teammates and you gotta, like, switch bodies and have them, like, realize that, yeah, you have to do that manually. In this one, like, okay, if thing floats above head for 3 minutes, then this is my coding, then character will grab thing above their head and chuck it in a random direction. That was their fix. So that is an improvement, by the way. The lack of magic orbs at all
is good.
Huge improvement. I can't believe we've been dealing... This should have been a fix with Ring of Fates. I can't believe it wasn't. I mean, it was certainly better than what we had in Crystal Chronicles, because, like,
Oh, yeah.
Ring of Fates, it was like Orb City. Like, all they did was, like, shit out orbs at you in that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in this one, no
I wonder where they're
orbs.
hiding them. Are they like anal bead orbs or something?
Oh,
Just like,
that's
boop,
awful.
boop, boop, boop. Hey, look, there's a cure at the end of that.
Is that the sound?
Yeah.
Okay. I wouldn't know, so.
Bunch of cure balls stuffed up there. No, the last one is a cure. The first one's a fire, give you a little, like, tingle, you know, and then, like, second one's the ice to cool it off again, and then the cure to, like, heal the wound. Yeah.
Anyway.
Maybe a raise if you're... if it really takes you down.
Fantastic fixes.
Yeah, there are definitely some better things.
Yeah, an MP. Oh my god, this magical. Actually, yeah, magical. This magical fix called an MP bar, as opposed to having single use magic orbs strewn about the place.
Yeah.
Wow.
Especially when you have like puzzles that require you to use magic. And you run out of magic. Like, that's the most infuriating thing in fucking Ring of Fates.
Yeah. And, wow, that was, that was some groundbreaking stuff they were doing in 2009.
I know, yeah, it's impressive. It's a great year.
MP bar. In a series that needed an MP bar years before this.
Yeah, and a series that's a sub-series of a series that had MP bars from the beginning. No orb bullshit.
Yeah, I think so.
They finally decided to play ball. But
the first game did have MP.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't it? It fucking did.
Final Fantasy 1, at least.
Yeah. Shit. What the shit, Square?
So, I mean, I know I'm, like, shitting on the game. I think the AI is just a little bit stupider in this thing. Like, I get that it's better that we have these quality of life fixes like the MP bar and stuff like that, but some of the dungeons are more complex in this game than they were in Ring of Fates, so it's more frustrating to me to get fucked over by the moronic AI in this thing than it was in Ring of Fates. And
I would say moronic AI was maybe a problem like a dozen times when I played it.
Yeah. It's extremely frustrating though. Like, it's a long puzzle area. Like, near the very end, there's a spot where you grab the little fucking block of stone, the sundial thing that you chuck into the clock face that you throw into the sundial to unlock doors in these fucking games. It's at the very beginning of this thing where you have to grab it. You have to jump onto this moving platform. There's another platform that's hauling ass. You go there, you go across this other area, and then, like, before that you have to, like, jump up and to the left. And the thing that was fucking me is, like, people would be standing there and I would just fall off. And so, like, I eventually had to, like, jump and then chuck the fucking sundial over onto the platform, let that character fall to his death, grab it with another character, and then I'd, like, start wheeling around, and I'd have to stand on this fucking platform and stand on this button on this platform to move me to another platform that's moving, and I had to grab another item that was it was the fucking, like, lanterns that you use in the game or whatever. They have to light up with the electricity, the little crystal things. I had to grab one of those while I'm on a moving platform, and I'd have to, like, get off and then, like, stop it and then grab it, but the fucking teammate would, like, stand on the button like a fucking idiot, and I couldn't, and then they would just, like, move me away from the thing I'm trying to grab. And it's like, oh my god. And so I seriously just grabbed my teammates and I just proceeded to throw them off the edge to make them respawn on a different section of the map. I was like, just get out of my way, man. I'm like, God, I can't fucking do anything with you people here.
Were you not toggling the C button? Or the one button that made them, like, pop up behind you?
No, I would occasionally, but that was the problem, is they were too close, and then they would, like, they would follow me as I moved off of the button, and they'd stand on the button in my stead. So I would just throw them.
Times.
I would just kill my teammates off. I'd just push them off cliffs to get them out of the fucking way, and I just hope they respawn somewhere else.
Well, yeah, then, last game, your teammate wouldn't move, though. That was another, like, they would just, like, be standing wherever the hell you left them.
Yeah, and honestly, I miss the stack simulator that was Ring of Fates. Like, I miss being able to toss items on top of a character's head and then create this mountain of stack and just climb it to get to the next area instead of doing the puzzle. I can't do that in this one. I tried. I like, there was a spot where I knew I could clear it.
It won't let you fuck with anything.
No, yeah, they really made this game, like, they programmed it correctly, unlike Ring of Fates. Like, there's a part where there's a huge cavernous ledge area, and I throw one of my teammates out of the corner, and then I jumped on his head, and I, like, tried to do a double jump to the next area, and I made it, but it wouldn't let me land on the thing, so I just fell to my death.
They've got walls in place this time.
Yeah. They want you to actually figure out the puzzle.
Yeah.
Which I do think the dungeons and stuff are way more fun in this thing. Like, I think it's more interesting. I like the designs. It felt more like a true dungeon crawler than any of the other games in the series so far. And that was pretty appreciated. I was like, this is actually not bad. The boss fights were fun.
I liked the addition of the books, and like the big button when it worked.
Yeah.
The timed floors in a couple of the levels where it was just like they would just wail enemies at you until it got to the top. And like the candle thing, or the way you have to light them with the magic pot that spews magic in 4 directions. I thought they got pretty clever about like the types of puzzles. Like, I really thought that, I mean, in the last game, because it was DS only and they weren't gonna port it to the Wii, or emulate it to the Wii, they of course had like the different characters had their different abilities, and you're missing that in this game, which I thought was like, oh, they could have really like done something with that, but then it would have had to be a DS only game because some of that stuff uses the touchpad, or at least it did in the last game.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing where they kind of retracted from. All the characters are basically the same. They just like attack at different speeds now.
Yeah, and you can equip them with whatever you want too.
Yeah.
It seems like.
So it's not really like there's not really like a difference in the races that much. So it doesn't matter like it did in the last game. It mattered.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing that's like, well, they backtracked on that, but everything else I thought was an improvement. Gameplay wise, even your shitty AI. The AI was shitty last time. I'm pretty sure we complained about the AI on the Ring of Fates review.
Yeah, but this was like, I was getting real mad. I don't remember getting that mad at Ring of Fates. Maybe I'm crazy.
Yeah, you probably weren't that bad. But it is bad. They are terrible AI. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Honestly, though, I wish we would have been able to play this game co-op, because I think that would have fixed a lot of the problems that we had, and I think it would have been a pretty fun experience, but it just wasn't going to happen.
We could have done it between the DS and the Wii.
I know, yeah.
It's too late now. Now we got to play our tower defense game.
That's right, yeah, the tower defense.
Not the same game as My Life as a King, by the way.
Yeah, the story seems kind of similar, but...
No, but it's like literally not the same game. It's very different gameplay-wise.
I'd say the premise is the same. It's just the opposite, the opposing force.
Yeah.
As far as the story goes and the setting, but that's it. Everything else is different.
Only like a daughter and a few years later. And
yeah.
Crazy Tonberries. Yeah.
Okay,
so anything else to say about gameplay?
No, I mean, honestly, there was a moment kind of 3/4 of the way through this game that I was considering like putting it at the bottom of my rankings. I was so fucking mad at it. I was like, fuck this, man. And then I got to the end and I was like, you know what? This final boss, this final area is pretty fucking sweet. Like, there's a lot of really cool level design things. There's a lot of cool enemies. And I started to have a lot more fun with the game. So I think honestly, if you can, you should play this game with other people. Yeah. And I think that would make it a much more rewarding experience, because as a solo game, it's very frustrating. The AI is terribly programmed, and in this game, this game's a lot more sensitive than Ring of Fates. I feel and it's a lot more intricate, and that makes the AI problems like stand out a ton for me. So I would recommend playing it as a co-op game. But yeah, honestly, it's not terrible as far as the gameplay goes. It's pretty standard. And did you do any of the optional missions? The quests?
No, there were tons of quests opened up, but I never did any of them.
Yeah, I did like 2 of them. Both of them were like putting out fires in the city, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do these anymore. And then honestly, I was like, you know what? I don't want to do these side missions because I don't like this game. And then that was my stance for like 80% of the game. I was like, I don't like this, so I'm not fucking playing more of it. It's not going to happen. And then at the end, I was like, yeah, I kind of like it. It's not bad. But it basically, like Joe said, it is an improvement on Ring of Fates in almost every way. I missed the stacking though. I thought that was beautiful. You know, it's like I'm playing fucking like Lego stack simulator with items, but you can't build that stairway to heaven like you could in Ring of Fates. Just fucking climb through the map. And it just lets you get away with it. It's like, yeah, sure, you're here. It's like, I don't know how you got here.
Yeah, I made it. Didn't think you could stack rolling balls on top of one another.
Yeah. But you did.
You can.
Fucking marbles on your buddy's head. Use that to climb up to the next area.
It holds your weight, too. It doesn't shift.
Yeah, it's very balanced. I enjoyed the platforms that you had to like stand on certain buttons to move the directions or like cast spells. I thought that was kind of a cool way to move around some of these dungeons. And we had some callbacks to the first game with there were certain areas that had like poisonous air or something, and it was like the miasma, and you had to throw the pot on top of this thing and like power it up with this protective spell or whatever, and then when you would walk around you wouldn't take damage. So we had a couple callbacks from the first game as far as the gameplay is concerned, which I thought was kind of cool. And most of the time, those, you don't really have to use them. You can just kind of speed through the area and survive. But if you want to do it while taking a little less damage, you can. No. But overall, the dungeon design, I think the variety is vastly increased, and the complexity is a nice change. Because some of those, you actually felt good about like figuring out some of the puzzles. It's like, oh yeah, that was not bad. Like
some of them were pretty like complex, in my opinion.
Yeah. Surprisingly so too. It's like, God, it's supposed to be for kids. Like, what the shit?
There's one in the library, and I think it might have been the one that you were complaining about the AI on.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Oh, thank you for bringing that up.
There was like it was like you had to slam a book down, you had to run to a place, like target a thing. Get on a platform, it'd raise you up. You had to target a thing just right, just in time to pull it over and push it towards the thing so it would cast the spell on the dealio in order to open.
Yeah.
That was real rough.
The problem is like when you and a bunch of your teammates, when everyone has their spell together, I think it like auto casts. At least that's what it felt like it was doing. So I would like. Some of the books, they would like cast a spell, and sometimes they would just follow you, and then other times you could like start casting your own little ring of mana, of magic, spell casting, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and it would like lock in with yours, and you could guide it to the balloon that you have to pop to open up the next area. And it was so frustrating because like for some reason when everyone's balloon like touched, it just fucking orgasmed, you know, and like it just like boing, and it casts a spell, and it's like, cool. And that's when I started throwing people off cliffs as well, like just throwing them down. But here's the one that made me really mad in a library. You're in a library, there's a fucking there's a puzzle where like there's a button down below, there's a button up above, and then there's also a puzzle where you have to throw a book onto a book platform and pull the spell that the book casts over to an area right next to it. And it seems like it should be easy, but the problem is I thought you had to like get your teammates to stand on these levels because I didn't see anything that looked movable in this fucking area because I was like... I
had the same exact thing. I said, my teammate must have to move here, but if you move just a little bit, your teammate will move off of that fucking thing.
I almost was able to do it. I almost made it happen, dude, because like I had one guy that I guess was like a little slower in the head stand on the button up top because he was like content staying way over there, and then I had another guy down on the one below, and then I had someone in the corner right next to the one down below, so he's like pretty close to that one, and then I would swap and like swap from like the character that's standing next to the guy on 2 different levels, and then I'd like have that one cast a spell, throw the book, cast a spell, and I almost made it happen. I almost like ripped the game off. But like the dude down below moved just a little bit too quickly for me, and I wasn't able to pull the spell across the platform, because once it moves, it's like really hard to get it to go up a wall. It kind of needs to be like on a standard like X-axis, and it's if the Y like moves, like it doesn't acknowledge Y-axis in this game. It's just straight across X plane, you know.
Yep.
And if it moves, you're fucked. It just goes down with the thing. And then I was like getting so pissed, and I looked it up, and I was like, what am I supposed to fucking do in this fucking mission?
Oh, you had to look it up. Oh.
Yeah, and then it was a bookshelf that's like massive.
Yeah.
And I was just supposed to like push it off the edge and then like hold it down. And once I did that, it was like a 2-second puzzle, you know. But I'm like, why am I picking this fucking thing up? And the more frustrating part is I spent like 2 breaks and most of my lunch on this fucking puzzle. And then I get the key, and then I accidentally leave the fucking dungeon.
Dude, I did the same thing.
I left the fucking dungeon, and I was like, oh my god, I hope it doesn't restart me. I go back in, it fucking restarted me. I was like, I had the key to the fucking door. Why did the game let me do this? Like, please, hold my hand a little. Say like, hey, you sure you want to fucking leave right now? I don't think it's a very good idea to leave right now, Caleb. And it's like, oh, well, thanks, game. I won't leave. Or the key should
be a permanent item.
Yeah, it should be a fucking perma item. I'm like, why is this fucking key disappearing? Like, is somebody pickpocketing me, taking the key out of my fucking pocket as I'm leaving? Like, why don't I have the key anymore? Like, Jesus Christ, I was so fucking mad, dude. I was like livid, because I was at work. I'm like, I need to beat this fucking game. Like, podcasting time is coming. I'm decently into it at that point. I was like halfway in like a couple days, and that was a whole day. Just that one dungeon was a whole day at work of breaks and lunch, like just fucking gone, because I fucking left the dungeon on accident.
I did the exact same thing, because it puts you out there, and you got to make a decision whether or not you go back into the dungeon, because it's been a while. It's like the second room where the door with the key thing is at.
Yeah, so it's like you don't know where the fuck it's at. Like, yeah.
Yeah, dude, I did the exact same thing, and I was really mad, but it took me like 2 minutes to go through the dungeon a second time, because it was like I knew how to finish all the puzzles really quickly, and I had just done it, so.
I did that with that one, and I did that with one of the ice cave ones near the end.
Oh, I only ever did it once.
And that one was a long dungeon, and I was real mad when that one happened. Like, I was pretty pissed when it happened the first time. When it happened in the ice dungeon, I was like, holy fuck, dude. That was like 30 minutes that's just flushed down the shitter just immediately. Just like, yeah, that didn't mean anything. Sure, you got experience, but you don't care about that, do you? And I was like, no, I don't. I don't care about their shitty levels. I've got enough damage to win. I just need to get the fuck out of here.
Oh my god.
So yeah, it happened to me again, and I was like so disheartened. I was like, I'm just going to bed. Fuck this game.
Dude, weren't some of the like final guys in the final dungeon more difficult than the final boss was?
Yeah, like the fucking frog guy. Frog guy was OP, dude. Like he would like jump up on the wall, and then he would like start casting his poison thing on the water. But there were a couple times where like he'd jump on the wall and he'd instantly cast the poison in the water, and it would just do like 300 damage to me. And he wiped my team a couple times that way. And like he did not have a weak spot at all, as far as I could tell. Like, I just had to wail on him for like 10 straight minutes to kill his ass. So yeah, the final boss was a chump in this game. Like, I crushed him. I didn't die to him at all. You know, it's like in the first Ring of Fates, I died a couple times because the boss was actually pretty tough. But yeah, but this guy, not so bad. But yeah, there were ones that were more difficult than the final guy. Did you find the like weird optional dungeon thing that unlocks that like portal in the floor, where it's just like boss rush?
No, I didn't.
I found a couple of those, and I think it's like challenge dungeons. Or what they are, you just go in and you...
one.
Yeah, it's like you complete an area, and then it opens up this weird portal on the floor, and you can go in there, and it's just like a boss, and then you fight that boss and go to the next one, and it's another boss, and like you just keep going.
Wow.
I didn't get very far, and then I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that, but
yeah, I'm good.
Seemed like a cool way to do some more stuff, but yeah, I don't know. The game's yeah.
My overall opinion on the gameplay is that it's fun. It is very flawed. Like Schweiss was definitely saying. But it is pretty fun. And it's not the bullshit. It's bullshit in some things about it, but it's not bullshit level as the first game. And I think it's a little bit more complicated, and a lot of things are improved from Ring of Fates. But I would say it's pretty comparable to Ring of Fates overall.
Yeah, it's the only other one that feels like Ring of Fates so far. Yeah. I mean, the first one's very...
And Ring of Fates is a huge
different.
Improvement from Crystal Chronicles.
Yeah.
So,
in a lot of ways, Crystal Chronicles is less glitchy, certainly. It's functionally better.
Yeah, it is way less glitchy.
It's like an actual game. These are like just...
Ring of Fates or Echoes of Time.
Yeah.
My Life as a King wasn't glitchy, and My Life as a Dark Lord is not glitchy. I'll tell you that.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're like fucking...
But they aren't like... They're like window
Sim
games.
City.
Pretty sure they made them on Flash, and then they just...
Yeah. You look online, it's like addictinggames.com, and they made the game. That's why it's so fun.
Is that site still around?
I think it is, dude.
Oh my god.
That's where I used to play Motherload all the time. That was a great game. But yeah, it's...
Do you remember video sites before YouTube?
Yeah, it was weird, huh?
I can't remember any of them. I remember AdamFilms.com. And there was like something Black Sheep, whiteblacksheep.com.
Yeah, and then the Roadstar Runner. That was one that Caleb watched a lot.
Other people did that. I never did. I never thought those were that funny. Yeah, okay, fine. Crazy. Yeah, gameplay's fine.
Yeah. I think it would have been awesome playing as like a group of 4 people, though. It would have been a lot of fun.
I think so, too. And I kind of wish we had that opportunity, but alas, we do not.
Yeah.
Real quick over the art design and the music, because I know we're not going to talk about this for more than like 5 minutes, so I'll just keep it in the same segment. The art looks like on the Wii, it looks like a fucking DS game, but it looks like fucking Ring of Fates. It's like the exact same design motif throughout the whole thing.
The final dungeon looked pretty cool.
Difference.
The final areas, I think the areas were more fleshed out. It was less like foresty areas like it was in Ring of Fates, and I like the design of the dungeons a lot. I think they added a little bit more variety to the game.
Okay.
But overall, yeah, the characters look pretty much the same, maybe a little bit better graphically than Ring of Fates.
Only you can be the judge of that because you actually played it on the system it's meant to be played on.
Yeah, I think it did look a little bit better. I was looking at it. I was like, it's a pretty decent looking game.
Okay.
The enemies there's a little bit more variety with the enemies, but not much. And yeah, most of it's just the level design and the art, and like the final boss looked pretty cool. The area you were fighting him on. And Shinru asked a question about this, and it looks just like Vagrant Story's final area. But thankfully, it's not like impossible to see anything that's happening.
Yes.
Like Vagrant Story's final spot, where you just have no idea what's going on because you can't. There's around, it's spinning around. The platform is moving. He's flying, and it's like I have no idea what the fuck is happening right now. I can't tell if he's right in front of me, if he's 50 feet away. Like it's just
or if he's above me.
Or if he's above me. Yeah, I can only tell he's above me after he passes behind me, and I was like, oh shit, he was above me right then.
You have 3 opportunities to get the right freeze frame.
Yeah, or I could block his one Uber attack that has the hardest block in the fucking world. Yeah.
Fuck you.
No. It reminded me a lot of that, but it was actually doable.
I'm so mad
so that was
at that
nice.
game right now.
Yeah.
I listened to the song the other night, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember the pain. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it was painful.
Deeply painful.
Yeah.
All right. Music.
I thought it was pretty good. I thought the final boss area music was pretty good. I like the music in this game more than the other games in the series so far. Crystal Chronicles.
I thought the same thing about Ring of Fates, and I think I'm thinking the same thing about this one. I think they're both on the same level for me.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you know what I realized yesterday? I was like, I can't think of a fucking a Ring of Fate song or an Echoes of Time song.
Neither can I.
But I can think of Crystal Chronicles songs like... yeah. Ding, ding, ding. Ding, ding, ding. Ding, ding, ding.
All right, so the more annoying they are, the more they stick with you.
And I also was thinking, like, I remember the fucking Digimon story, Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory, like, like menu music. I was like, this is sad.
That. No.
It's like, I could, is that music better? Like, I don't
know. It doesn't mean it's better.
It's just never gonna leave.
I whip my hair back and forth stuck in my head every once in a while. It doesn't make it a good song.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, it was a weird thing I was thinking of last night. I was like, oh my god.
It is funny how these things are. Some of these games, the soundtrack just sticks with you. And it's not necessarily based upon the quality of the game either.
Yeah, or even the quality of the soundtrack, to be honest. Like, there are some that, like with FF8, when I played it, I was like, yeah, that soundtrack's not great. But then afterwards, when I'm listening to, like, certain pieces, I'm like, there are actually some pretty great songs in the game, so I don't really know what it is.
Yeah, but you can remember those songs.
Yeah, that's true.
And you can remember FF11 songs.
Yeah, but I mean, like, when we did the guest episodes with Greg Troyan and his bassist or whatever, going back to Final Fantasy 1 and 2, it was amazing how many songs I remembered from those soundtracks. Like, oh, wow, yeah. And, like, thinking about it, it's like, oh, yeah, those soundtracks are pretty basic. Like, it's whatever. I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, Final Fantasy 1 is one of the best soundtracks in the series. I would never say that. But when I go back, I'm like, wow, this is like awesome song after awesome song. Like, and I remember all of it. I remember like, oh yeah, this is from the first game. Holy shit, this has been this theme has been there the whole time, and it's crazy how some of these soundtracks can be that way. But these ones for the Crystal Chronicles, not really so much. I mean, there are cool boss themes in there, I think, and then there are I think the soundtrack in this game is good. I think it's mostly atmospheric and it feels right, and I think that's what makes it so forgettable, is because it's meant to be like just a thing going on in the background.
That's true.
And it doesn't make it a bad soundtrack, but it doesn't make it like super iconic or anything either. So it's just a good soundtrack that sort of serves its purpose for the game.
Yeah, I don't remember that much of it, and frankly, I had to have the sound turned down for a lot of the game, so I didn't get that much of it.
Oh, okay.
Just living with a whole bunch of people, it just makes it difficult to have the sound on all the time. I don't want to be the rude roommate with a whole bunch of noise going.
Yeah. You really don't.
But yeah, I remember the music just being kind of... It fit with Crystal Chronicles, so it went in one ear and out the other.
A lot of bells.
There's bells and there's flutes. I remember the mental note of, there's flutes again.
Yeah.
I really love the flutes in the old Crystal of the Chronicles. Okay, Schweiss, let's see. We got some questions, right?
We do that. Let's jump right into those.
Questions for us. We would like to hear from you. You. To our forums. Or contact us on Twitter. Get on and ask your questions. We'll answer them with a tweet. This is the question segment. Asking you will receive.
All right, so first up on our questions, and thank you guys for submitting some questions. I was kind of worried about this one because I wasn't sure if we were going to actually do this episode this week, and we weren't sure last week because we didn't say anything about doing this episode. But thankfully, we have some very diligent listeners and people who actually go to our website and our forum to pay attention to what's happening there. And Echoes of Time questions. First up, Rudd Rose. Sadly, I haven't even heard of this game, but let's give you some questions anyway. 1, was it worth it for them to keep working on Crystal Chronicles games, or should they have used their time and development on something else?
Wow, the only people who would know that would be
Square?
the people who keep track of the money.
Yeah. Do we think... this is tough because this is like 09, right? So we have FF12, FF13 is 09.
13 is 09, yeah. Wait, this one came out in March in the U.S.?
Yeah, I think this came out the same month as 13 then, because that was March.
It did.
Wow. That's probably why we didn't know, is because the only Final Fantasy anyone cared about was 13.
Little overshadowed.
Yeah, just a touch. And I didn't see any sales data on this game when I was looking.
No, there wasn't anything.
I think it's probably pretty bad, because there's nothing. But I don't know if it's... I think it's... That's an interesting question of whether or not it was worth it for them to keep working on it. Like, are we glad that we have this game as opposed to more work on another game? And to that, I'd say, yeah, I mean, it was a fun little, 12, 13 hour adventure, I guess. And I don't know if it necessarily is taking away from any other development of any other game.
Right.
Because it's just so vastly different, and it's just something for a smaller team to work on to give them some more.
Do you really want these people working
cash
on your FF16s?
Yeah, definitely not. No, it's a definite no.
Okay. What's the next question?
What was your favorite aspect of the game?
Switches.
Yeah.
It's my favorite aspect.
Yeah,
I thought the puzzles were fun.
Yeah, the puzzles were fun. They were decently challenging. I think I agree with that. I think that was my favorite aspect of the game, too. If you could only change and improve one thing, what would it be? AI.
I was thinking my eyebrows.
Yeah.
Oh, in the game. Oh.
What eyebrows are those? Like,
hey, thank you. I would change. I would change going back, like resetting the level completely when you back out of it. I think that's
that would have
like
been nice.
Numero uno bullshit thing. I hated that. So stupid.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything you think the mainline series can take from any of the Crystal Chronicles spin-offs, or should they stay away from these games? I think they can take some multiplayer aspects from the games. Like, I thought that was pretty fun to have a couch co-op in the first game.
If there was a main series, more puzzle-oriented game, yeah. We haven't really had, like, 13 kind of had some weak puzzles in it. What was the last FF game with... Oh, I guess 10. Yeah, 10 had a whole thing with puzzles, huh?
Yeah, it's like Craig's least favorite thing in the world is the Cloister of Trials.
Yeah, they're not great. 6 had some really good puzzles. I remember that. Like, the 2D games had better puzzles. Yeah, if they decided to go more puzzle-oriented, sure. I could imagine if they keep going in the action RPG realm with 15 and then moving on to 16, they could incorporate some more puzzly type stuff, a different level of challenge in the game. I don't think that would be harmful for the series at all. If it was set up just like this, that would be harmful, because it'd be like, I guess we're doing Dragon Quest, where everything looks cheaper now for this AAA title series. So you can't really backtrack on that level. You got to keep FF kind of the top tier JRPGs every couple of years. But
right.
I would say, if they added some more puzzle stuff and kept it multiplayer, like you were saying, Schweiss, sure, yeah. I'd be up for that.
All right, so we have some more questions here from Shinru. He says, so I like this game and consider it the best and kind of only good Crystal Chronicles game. Did you enjoy the boss battle music? Yes.
Sure. Didn't dislike it, so yeah.
You obviously didn't try out multiplayer, but do you think you would have enjoyed it possibly more in this one than in Ring of Fates or the first Crystal Chronicles game?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it would have been better. Did you enjoy the story more in this one? Yeah, it was kind of confusing, but I thought it was fine. I don't know about more.
It had one cool twist in it, but it's kind of like Ring of Fates, where it's just like, it's pretty bland on the Final Fantasy side of things. I tolerated the story. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the villain?
Lame.
Yeah. You didn't like fighting
I thought how he was set up was super lame, and I just didn't care after that. Also, his like accent thing, I thought was a really dumb choice for the localizers.
Yeah, it was kind of poorly done too. It was because sometimes it was a German accent, and then it wasn't a lot of times. Yeah, not the best villain. Albert Einstein was a great scientist.
It didn't create the nuclear bomb, by the way.
I thought he was one of the ones that worked on the atomic bomb.
No, he just came up with like the idea of it happening, I think, like the energy expanding like that. No, it had other guys, other very smart guys, including some German scientists work on the bomb.
Oh, okay. See, yeah, that's what I thought the whole game was about.
Oh, okay. It was Albert Einstein's like idea.
Albert Einstein's betrayal of the Axis, you know.
Yeah.
Even though the Axis wasn't really, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't directly work on the bomb.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, fine. He made the formula at least. They don't even know.
Huh.
So this is just the Manhattan Project, is what this game is based on. Then,
yeah,
it's the whole creation of that.
There you go.
Best boss fight. I kind of like the last boss. I don't know. I thought it was good.
Best boss fight. I like the toad. the frog.
Really? I fucking hated the frog. Okay. I was like, the frog was a dick.
There was one boss that was like flying around and you had to like jump on top of him. It's like a big bat looking thing. I thought that was pretty fun. I thought that was a pretty fun fight. So, whatever that one was.
Hardest boss fight. I think the frog one was the hardest for me. Hands down. I died like 3-4 times to him.
None of the bosses were hard for me. I never had to try out more than twice on any of them. But there was like a fire phantom enemy in one of the areas that I would call like a type of boss. You can't kill it. It just fucks you over and over again while you're trying to solve a fucking puzzle. And I found that to be the hardest part of the game, right there. Never died to it, but I came very close multiple times in the middle of a freaking puzzle.
Oh yeah, there was a room when I was trying to put the staff thing together, where I came in and there were two of the lion guys and then like two flying guys, and like the lag was real bad in this area, and I was just getting fucking just blasted, and I died in this fucking like final area of the dungeon, and I was like, oh my god, because I couldn't move fast enough to get out of there. So it wasn't really much of a boss fight. It was just more of like an arena style fight, but that one was not great either. All right, what did you think of the dungeons and final dungeon?
I thought the final dungeon was well, I expected it to take half an hour, and it took like an hour and a half. So it was kind of like pissing me off the night I did it. But I thought it was a really good, really complex final dungeon. And the final boss, it reminded me of Vagrant Story. I was actually surprised it only had 2 forms on the final boss. I expected a third one. Like, I didn't think he was dead. And
yeah, me neither.
I would say disappointed by the final boss, actually, Shinru. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was really easy, too. It was a really easy fight.
It was. And he only had 2 forms. And
Yeah.
not used to, I think, like I think Ring of Fates, he had like 5 or some bullshit like that.
Yeah, it was insane.
And it was a lot harder.
And in the regular Crystal Chronicles, it was a kind of a rough final chunk.
Yeah, that might be what I'm remembering as the original Crystal Chronicles, because that's a final boss.
Yeah, that one was brutal.
Jeez.
Would you like to see another game in this style?
If
maybe.
done well, yeah.
Yeah, it would have to have less glitchiness and less like stupid mechanics.
Doesn't it feel like kind of like an in-between to Zelda and Final Fantasy, like the ultimate in-between?
Yeah, sort of,
Just
because
like
it does
a
have
not
an
good
adventure.
version of either of those.
Yeah. It's like they fired the bad members of the teams for each of those games, and then they made a game.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is.
So none of them were great at doing what they do, and they just, slapped it together and put it to market. Yeah, I think it'd be fine. I think a modern one would be kind of cool if it was done like with more love and care, So, do you think the final boss music was epic? Yeah, I thought the final boss theme was pretty sweet.
I can't remember it now, but I remembered seeing the question before I played the final boss, and then I played the final boss, and I agreed at the time.
Yeah,
So I remember me thinking about it then more than I remember the music now.
Yeah,
God, I feel like such a piece of shit having to say that, but it's true.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they wanted it to be remembered, they'd make it more memorable.
Ooh.
So, Ring of Fates or Echoes of Time final boss design?
Echoes of Time.
I don't know. I kind of like the way the Ring of Fates last guy looks, but the area design is better in this one, so it's kind of both, I guess. Which final boss battle was more fun? I liked the other one because it had like that cool magic casting mechanic at the very end of the game, just to kind of take the guy out. So I think that one was better. This one was like a really fucking easy, just hack him down.
Yeah, I agree with that. I didn't remember that part, yeah. It's good.
Yeah. Did the final boss stage remind you of Vagrant Story? Yes.
Yeah, it did a lot.
Would you agree with the statement that this is one of the best dungeon crawlers on DS?
Don't know.
Well, it's one of the 2 I've played between this and Ring of Fates,
So yes, one of the best.
Definitely one of the best. Yeah.
Playing it on the DS, on the Wii, I can concur.
Yes, thank you. I honestly, I haven't played that many DS games, dude.
Neither
I
have
just
I.
haven't. So
I bought a DS for this show, so there you go.
Yeah, same.
You've heard all my DS experience so far on the show, guys.
Yeah. Did you do any of the optional or secret stuff? I did a couple missions, but
I did not.
No, I wasn't. I didn't care about the game enough to do it, and it wasn't like I need to level up, so I should probably do these things. Let's level up by doing optional quests. That never really was an issue, as far as I could tell, so I never did it.
All right.
Yeah. Yep. That's it for our questions. That's all we got.
No, it's not. Did you do... Wait.
No, I'm just kidding. We got one more.
It's like, what the hell?
I forgot. I had one of the old tabs open, and that's what I was looking at. So we have Random Dude, Aldwin, who has played every Final Fantasy game ever made, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, it doesn't put a review on the forums for the games we're about to play.
Yeah. Now that you've played all the multiplayer Crystal Chronicles, do you think there was anything there that would be worth bringing back to current FF games? We've already kind of done that.
Yeah, we did that as puzzles. Yeah.
What would be the perfect Crystal Chronicles multiplayer in your eyes? Probably online, because it's harder to... Online with the ability for couch co-op, because couch co-op is super fun, but it's just not always practical, especially in our case now.
Agreed. Something, and I hope it's, a little bit more like Lego Star Wars, and a little bit less like the original Crystal Chronicles in terms of control and where people are on a map and stuff like that. But I still liked the original Crystal Chronicles multiplayer stuff. It just was real clunky, and of course you had to have the special controllers. But no, we haven't. I mean, Ring of Fates, you couldn't do the story mode with multiplayer which is lame. And this one you could, but we're too far apart for that now.
Yeah.
It's lame. Super lame.
I know. It does suck. Do you miss the presence of miasma / Crystal Caravans in the Crystal Chronicle world?
No.
I hated running into those fucking
Not
caravans,
at all.
dude.
Fucking hated it. Hated it, dude.
Yeah. Do you think the games are better without it? Yeah, I do.
Yes.
They're less frustrating. Does not having those things make the sequels lose the identity of the Crystal Chronicles series?
Absolutely not.
No, they have a feel to them. They have a similar feel. And now the subsequent games after the first one don't really feel that similar to the first one in some ways. But then again, the first one doesn't feel like Final Fantasy really at all. So like the Crystal Chronicles series just has like a feel about it, except for maybe Dark Lord and My Life as a King. Those are just weird ass games that they decided to slap Final Fantasy on. Not that they're bad, but the Crystal Chronicles, they all have like a similar feel to them, like the way they play, the mechanics are more actiony. It's not turn-based at all. The magic system is very similar in each of the games. So I don't think they've lost the identity of the series. I think it's just like a different world almost. Like it's a kind of a different setting, but the same kind of games.
Okay.
Does that make the games worse or better? Better. Yeah,
they're better. They're better games.
Does it make sense to still have the Crystal Chronicles name if they're not that similar?
They're super similar in their world, just because they don't have caravans and miasma. The miasma was like a temporary ailment on the world anyway, so I guess
it wasn't supposed to be. It's not a normal occurrence,
right? And if it was like repeating the same fucking story over and over again, I think I'd be more mad at this sub-series than I am now. And I'm not mad now. I'm just kind of like. Kind of done with it.
Yeah, same. I'm just ready to be out of here. I'm ready to play something that's been released in the last,
Still
7
got a
years.
game and a half. Oh, and then we're going on to Final Fantasy Adventure twice. Let's move on to a game that was on the original Game Boy before the Game Boy Color.
Yeah.
A recent game.
Exactly, very recent. So does it make sense?
In terms of all time... Sure. Yeah, it is recent.
It is, yeah. When you look at it in the grand scape of time itself. Here's the thing. Like, I hate the idea when I hear people say something like, "Oh, Resident Evil 4 is a great game, but it's not a great Resident Evil." That doesn't make sense to me.
No.
A great game is just a great game, and if it says Crystal Chronicles, it's a Crystal Chronicles, and like it still has enough of a feel. The only ones that I would say don't have as much are probably Life as a King and Life as a Dark Lord, but they are set in that same setting, so it's hard to, say they're not part of it because they're post miasma world. That's what they're based on. So like and it doesn't really have much in the way of story, and the gameplay is completely different. So I would say those two are probably the one-offs in the series, if there are any. But even they still feel like a Crystal Chronicles game because it's just like a sub-series that has a bunch of games in it, and some of them are different, some of them are very similar to each other, and that's just kind of what it is. So yeah, I think it feels right.
I think so too. Like I mean, it's got like the little switches in the doors. And Ring of Fates had the orbs in it, so it felt like Crystal Chronicles in that way. The enemies, of course, which are Final Fantasy enemies, but they're designed a certain way in Crystal Chronicle world. The art design really keeps it in. The music being similar but less annoying, also keeps it in that universe as well. And the fact that it's all puzzle based and like killing enemies on a certain floor in order to make a certain thing happen. Like, that's another huge gameplay thing. And it is an odd thing to complain about in the Final Fantasy games, where it's like, well, it's not all the same. Because, the sequels to the main Final Fantasy games, they're only connected via, like, loose things every single game as it goes on. So,
Right.
like, 1 to 2, they're not connected at all story-wise. They are very similar gameplay and exploration and stuff like that. And then 3 builds on what came before it, 4 builds on what came before it, and it just keeps building and building.
Yeah.
And pretty soon, FF10 is nothing like FF1.
Right. And I mean, even if you look at
very basic principles.
Yeah, I mean, even if you look at, like, the sub-series within the series, like the FF7 verse, like, Dirge is nothing like Final Fantasy VII.
Right.
Which is nothing like, Crisis Core. So, I mean, it doesn't not feel like Final Fantasy VII, just because the gameplay is so different and the style is so different. It's just a different way of exploring that world. It's a different style. Even then, though, like, these kind of feel more similar than Dirge does to 7, in my mind.
I agree, but if you went through the 7 compilation stuff in order, everything builds on each other, and eventually Dirge makes some sense.
Yeah, as much sense as it can, which is not much at all. But the story is there, the characters are there, so that part makes it feel connected. But as far as the way the games play, I think Crystal Chronicles. It all feels like Crystal Chronicles.
Dirge fits because Advent Children exists, and Advent Children fits because it's fucking a sequel to 7.
Because they said so.
Yeah, I mean, so. And even some would disagree that it fits, but whatever.
Yeah.
Can't really argue with those people.
No.
All right. What's our next question?
That is it.
That is it. Okay, that's it for questions. Let's get to the legacy and our overall thoughts and feelings, and finally our rankings of this game. All right, Twice, is there any legacy to this game whatsoever?
Not as far as I can tell. I don't know anybody that's played it. I mean, most of the people asking questions, or at least one of the guys asking us questions, is like, hey, I've never played this game before. Mm-hmm. But I'd like to know this and this and this about it. It's like, and it came out in 2009, a time where Final Fantasy was very much on the mind. For us fans of the series, you and I went to 13's midnight release at the Springville GameStop. We were there, but we had no idea about this game that was coming out shortly after. No clue. Well, I mean, FF13 sold 7 million copies now or something like that, close to that. It's like in the 6 million range. And this, I do have sales figures. I just found them. As of May 2009, in everywhere, in every version, the game has sold 570,000 copies worldwide. Okay, so that's not too bad. I mean,
that's
half a million.
not too bad for what it is. It's a little tiny game that could, basically. The Metacritic score was 75 out of 100 for the DS version, and of course the Wii version was 64 out of 100.
They're like, this is fucking lazy.
I fucking agree. And that was my first reaction to this game. And I sent out a tweet when I was done with this game of me holding up the game over my trash can, which I think people may have read as like, this is really shitty. But I don't think the game is that shitty. I'm going to be honest. I don't. I do think that the port to the Wii is real shitty.
Yeah.
Like, Schweiss, my experience with this game, in comparison to yours, man, you played a much better game. You just had a better experience.
I'm sure.
Because those big Wii sticks, like the analog sticks with the movement of the characters, that was kind of rough to get used to. The controls were weird, like the control scheme of it was weird, like what the magic button and the people popping behind you button was, like where that was in comparison to switching around shit on the menu button. It was weird. It was a weird mapping of the controls on the Wii, and also the screen thing was the dumbest fucking thing I have ever seen. When I could see in my mind just a little hub thing, just like on one side of the screen there'd be magic, and like little tiny little like you could do the little orbs or whatever, and on the other side of the screen there would be the character list, and you'd use like a control to just kind of toggle through those things.
Right, yeah.
Oh my god. It's not even... They didn't even try. They didn't even try. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah, and they might as well have just not released it, because we wouldn't have bought the Wii version if we would have...
If there wasn't one, yeah.
Yeah, if there wasn't a Wii version, we wouldn't have bought the Wii version.
I might have brought the DS with me. But, anyway. It was fucking so stupid. That port of that Wii. If you're going to play this game, guys, play the DS version.
Oh, yeah.
Just trust me. The Wii version is just shit. So, yeah. As a port, it's shit. I can, like, honestly, part of me is playing this game going, I wonder if Schweiss is having fun right now.
Yeah.
Looking at it on a nice, crisp DS screen. On the muddy Wii screen. In Windows. Fucking the Windows into Windows.
Yeah, that looked pretty stupid. I'm glad I...
television screen. I was pretty much playing on a DS, just like a shittier one. God. All right. Overall thoughts. For me, it was fine. And the Wii port was shitty. What are your overall thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a fun game. It was a game I wish I would have played with other people. Like I've said before, I strongly recommend you guys play it with other people if you have the ability to do so. I kind of wish I would have explored more of the side quests, but none of them really seemed super interesting to me. And honestly, these Crystal Chronicle games have made me miss the tactics games a lot. And I don't think you're going to have those same feelings.
No.
But
no, I don't miss the tactics games at all.
The quality of the games.
Oh, the quality of the games are way better. Don't get me wrong. These are so short and so easy.
Yeah, it's just...
I don't want to go back.
I kind of do like this because it's less fun to me. I don't know. It's made me miss the tactics games, just playing these lesser Final Fantasy spin-offs.
Sure.
But overall, it's fine. They're all kind of fine for the most part, and it's a fun little 10-15 hours of gameplay, and there's more if you want it, but you don't need it to beat the game. So I thought that was kind of nice. That's a cool approach to side quests. Don't make it so fucking hard that you have to do a ton of them to beat the game. Kind of give me the option, and if you don't like the game that much, you don't have to do them. But soundtrack's fine, game looks fine, plays better than the other one that's just like it, Ring of Fate's slightly more frustrating with the puzzles. But if you play with other people, you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. You ready for a ranking? I'll let you go first this time.
All right. Do you have our rankings from before?
We both had the same ranking. It was Ring of Fates, My Life as a King, and then the original Crystal Chronicles.
Okay. I'm going to put this one at the top.
Okay.
It's going to be Echoes of Time, Ring of Fates, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, My Life as a King, and then the original Crystal Chronicles. I think this game's a little bit better than each of them in each category. It's better than the first one in the music category for sure. I think the gameplay in the first one's probably the best. It's the least, like, shitty, at least. I like the addition of the mana. They have an MP again. That was great. That saved a lot of frustration, especially when you have puzzles that are based on magic. The stacking problem wasn't as bad in this one. You actually had to figure out the puzzles. The puzzles were fun. The story was slightly interesting, and it was just a more enjoyable game. And you had side quests. There is more of a reason to play this game. Ring of Fates, as far as I remember, I don't remember any side quests in that at all. As far as I can recall, and the other...
Oh, but they had a whole secondary mode, though.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I don't know. It's not as much of a pull to me as, like, extra quests within the main game. But overall, I think this is the best of this mediocre series so far.
Yeah. It's the least mediocre of the mediocres.
Yeah, top tier mediocrity.
Top tier mediocrity right here.
God.
Yeah. It's like all the people that work at Burger King. One
Yeah.
of them's better than the others.
Yeah. Yeah, one of them's the
Not
best.
to shit on people who work at Burger King. I mean, I have a shitty job too right now, so I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. My ranking, I'm really having trouble with Ring of Fates versus this game. So I'm wondering if I'm forgiving this game a little bit because I played the Wii version of a DS game. But that screen thing, like, it pisses me off enough that I might just have to dock it anyway.
All right. That's fine. At one point, like 4 days ago or 5 days ago, I was going to put this at the bottom. I was so fucking mad.
Wow,
at it.
really?
Yeah, when I
never
lost
thought
the ice cave thing, I was like, I hate this thing. I hate this game so much right now. I just left another dungeon. It took me 40 minutes to get to the spot in the dungeon, and I fucking left. I just fucking left. So pissed.
Well, look, the main thing in this game were the puzzles, and I thought the puzzles were a little bit better than Ring of Fates. As much as I hate my version, I think it might just be just a tiny bit better than Ring of Fates.
All right.
But they are almost the same game.
Yeah, they're pretty fucking similar. It's close.
Yeah.
Between those two. I think this one has a little more, though. A little more to offer. A little bit better on the magic end, and yeah. All right, man. Hopefully Dark Lord shakes things up, because we can't be having the same rankings.
No, we can't. We
only have 2 more games left, so...
Dark Lord's going to be a hard one, because it's so different.
Yeah, that's the hard thing about this one and Life as a King. Like, they're nothing like anything ever, as far as I can tell. I mean, one's a tower defense and one's a lazy SimCity dungeon boss master manager 2007 or whatever, 2008. But they're just they're just fucking weird games. They're unlike anything else in the series that exists. You know, it's that is what makes those ones tough. And I feel like that might let us give them an easier ride, just because there's not really much going on as far as the story is concerned. But it's not bad because we don't really care.
Right.
It works.
Well, I don't know if you can hear this. Someone's doing construction in this room now.
Just a little bit.
Just a little. Okay. Well, hopefully it's not too loud. Okay, man. I guess that's going to be it for this review. Oh, did I actually officially rank?
Yeah, you said it was going to be number 1.
Echoes of Time, Ring of Fates, My Life as a King, and the original Final Fantasy, the classic being remastered.
That's right.
In bottom place, the original Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles game. Not a good game. Sorry, there's good things about it. There's fun things about the multiplayer, but it's not a good game, and I'm not looking forward to a remaster. I won't buy it at all. So
I still will, but begrudgingly.
You'll buy the $200 Super Collector's Edition?
Hell yeah, it'll come with like the miasma pot.
Oh, I hope it comes with an orb.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Oh, how about a raise orb? One that you'll need.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, man. This was interesting to review another mediocre game. God, what? Okay. So I redid the list on our website. If anybody had a chance to look it out or look it over. Some people on Twitter looked it over, and they said I was missing games, but I wasn't. Let's see, where is that list at? Besides UltimateFinalFantasy.com. And I'll tell you that we have some additions to our list, and I want to talk about them real quick here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've got the list pulled up right now.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay, you want to go through them in the order that we're going to do them?
All right, so we just finished Echoes of Time. Then we have My Life as a Dark Lord, Crystal Bearers, then part 1 of the Mana series, and in between season of the show, Final Fantasy Adventure, or Dawn of Mana, Adventures of Mana.
It's all one game, yeah.
Yeah, Final Fantasy Fables, Chocobo Tales, Chocobo's Dungeon. Those 2 will do. Final Fantasy Fighters with Dissidia 12, Final Fantasy, and then Dissidia Final Fantasy NT.
Because
theater
apparently
rhythm?
Dissidia 012 covers the story of the original Dissidia, so we don't need to actually play it, is what we've been told. If anybody has a counter argument to that, I will hear it out.
Yeah. Then we have standalone Final Fantasy spin-offs with Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, Final Fantasy The Four Heroes of Light, Final Fantasy Explorers, and World of Final Fantasy.
That's right. And then the weekly show will end. We also have a list of other media that we need to cover.
Yeah.
We need to finish Unlimited and
Good
review
God.
it, which we haven't done. There's a Final Fantasy Unlimited before and Final Fantasy Unlimited after 2, which are audio dramas that are prequels and sequels to that show. Don't know if they've been... We only do things that have been transcribed over, basically. So if it hasn't been, then we gotta skip it.
Right.
10 2.5 novel, and then 10... Then the sequel to that, that's the audio drama that's on the special editions as well. Those that we got to do those two things. There is an official FF11 comic that is 7 pages long called Adventure Log.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then, of course, the Final Fantasy 13 had some sequel short stories that took place between 13 and 13.2 that we need to review. But yeah, then we're moving on to the Mana series. Oh, did we say the Chocobo Dungeons shit?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, yeah, those are the 2 editions, Chocobo Tales and Chocobo Dungeon. Has the name Final Fantasy in them. So, it's part of the new Final Fantasy Fables series, but it's also part of the Chocobo Dungeon series. But we're just doing the ones with Final Fantasy in them. And then the weekly show will end, of course. So how many games do we have before the weekly show ends?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 12. 12 games.
Crush. 12 games. Yeah, 12 games. Need to get a hold of Chocobo's Dungeon, which is a lot cheaper on eBay than it is on Amazon. By the way, if you could just buy us both one, that'd be great. Let's see. So I already have Chocobo Tales, and I think you do too, right?
Yeah, the one on the DS.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So after the weekly show ends, we go through all the Mana series, at least the ones that have made it over here in the States. And then we got Final Fantasy cameos, is what I'm calling it. So every time a creature or a character shows up in a non-DLC or a non-in-game event thing in another game or movie, then we totally gotta review it. So we got Air Gaze, Gotta Bless the Ring, Secret of Evermore, which is a new edition, which is supposed to be a great game, so I'm excited to get to that one. Same with Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars, Charlie's Angel film, apparently some kids playing Final Fantasy in the background. Ready Player One has a Chocobo in it.
Oh, wow.
Robot Chicken, Final Fantasy Burger Chain, which we might have already done on the show, but we'll do it as an episode. And then the new Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, apparently. If Cloud is not DLC, then we'll do that one as well. And then we got the Chocobo Dungeon games that have made it over here to the States. And then all the Kingdom Hearts games in a row, which I'm super excited for.
Yeah, in like 4 years.
Yeah, man.
We play them.
Then Final Fantasy games that never were, which is Chrono Trigger, Xenogears, and Bravely Default. And then sequels to those games. Hard sequels only, by the way. We're not doing soft sequels. The Xeno series is not actually a series. The guy didn't have the rights to Xenogears. That's why he made a Xeno something on it in another company. It's not actually like a sequel. It's like a spiritual, oh, this guy's behind the same game, and they call him Xeno. It's not actually a series. Anyway, so the other Xeno blank games are not being played on this podcast. Sorry, guys. They're just not. But Chrono Cross and Bravely Second will be. So it's funny
Cool.
that Bravely Second is still like the final game on our list.
Yeah. Even after everything.
Yeah. After everything, we're going to play Bravely Second.
That's right.
Not Kingdom Hearts 3, as it should be. All right. All right, guys. I think that's going to be it for today. Schweiss, you got anything else for us?
Nope. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. I'm at UFF Podcast.
I'm at Joseph Vigolier.
support the show on Patreon, patreon.com/Ultima Final Fantasy. It's a great way to keep the lights on over here at Ultima. Good way to support the show. Haven't been streaming very much, but you can follow us on Twitch if you want. It's twitch.tv/Ultima Final Fantasy, youtube.com/Ultima Final Fantasy. We're going to try to get that back to up to dateness, but I don't know, we'll see. And you find all of that and so much more at ultimafinalfantasy.com. And please give us your reviews and your thoughts on My Life as a Dark Lord. It's not officially going to be next week, but if we both have it done, why not? Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Sorry for the late upload, guys, as well. People listening in the future do not give a shit, though. So
Yes, exactly.
all right. We'll see you guys next time.
Sounds good. Enjoy the grind.